Morning, everyone. It's so
Morning.
wonderful to have a bit of a
Morning.
coffee catch up with our first returning British guest this morning. Matt, thank you so much for joining us. Just so everybody knows who we've got with us today, I'm Hayley Plaskett. I'm the Marketing and Sales Director for Imvelo Safari Lodges. We have 4 wonderful camps in Wangi National Park, with which Matt came down and had a lovely safari with us a few weeks ago. We've got Matt with us, Matt Shark, who is the Senior Sales Consultant for Original Travel and one of our intrepid travelers that came down and came and saw us. And we've got the lovely Helen and Sally from Marketing Worldwide joining us, who are our reps in the UK. So we are really excited just to have a bit of a coffee catch up and listen to Matt's stories, and hopefully he'll be inspiring a few more people to consider Wangi and safaris in 2021. So Matt, welcome back to the UK. How are you feeling?
I'm all right, Hayley. Yeah, quarantine has been absolutely fine, and yeah, worth every second of the trip. So I'm coming to the end of my quarantine now. But yeah, very, very much missing Zimbabwe already, and already thinking about my next trip out there. So yeah, thanks for having me. It's great to do these kind of debriefs.
Absolutely. No, that's so awesome. And I'm glad you're feeling restored and, a little bit, it was a good way to finish the year, right? After
100%. So happy to kind of,
year.
yeah, get that experience in and, really kind of renew one's love for African travel and so on, and get my safari fix in for the year.
100%. Yeah, we're all very jealous.
I think Sally and Helen don't actually want to be here and here.
No, probably not.
No. You're missing the sunshine.
I've had a safari fix all year.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's I must say I'm listening to all the guys down in camp at the moment, and I'm really missing having a G&T around the campfires and that beautiful warm sunshine that's 365 days a year in Zimbabwe. So, but let's just dive in. So you came into Zim and you did 5 nights with us down in Wangi. So 3 nights down in our southeastern camp, Amani, and then you headed up north to Nahemba for 2 nights.
Yep.
So 5 nights. So what advice or tips would you give to anyone that's planning on a safari anytime soon?
Just go as soon as you possibly can.
Brilliant.
Yeah, no, I've been to Wangi before, but this kind of experience far surpassed my experiences before in Wangi. Because I love traveling in kind of the shoulder green seasons, away from the crowds a little bit. Even though the game is a little quieter at this time of year, the kind of wilderness feel and the exclusivity you feel in the national park it's unsurpassed. It's just unbelievable. So we had a great 5 nights in Wangi at Imvelo. We did, saying that the game was a little bit quiet, we still had some amazing sightings. I mean, we still saw lion, buffalo, elephant, leopard and cheetah. It was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. We didn't see another tourist for the first 6 days of our trip in Zim, which is a little bit bittersweet, to be perfectly honest. Quite sad in some ways, but still absolutely amazing.
I think Wangi is still definitely going to be one of those parks that you can social distance from humans, even definitely. If the volume does pick up, because there's so few camps in and around Wangi in such a vast park. I mean, Wangi's 14,500 square kilometers, so it's the same size as Belgium. So I think that's always going to be a wonderful thing, that you can social distance from other humans, but it's great that you're still able to see such an amazing diversity of wildlife while you're there.
No, definitely. I mean, I think also, with the Imvelo camps being on their own concessions as well, that helps a lot. You don't have to drive in the busier parts of the park, which a lot of other camps are situated in. Bamani especially, I mean, you could just spend your whole time there on Bamani's concession and still see excellent wildlife and still have an incredible experience. And then, if you're talking about going over to Joseph Benini, where there's literally no one around for dozens and dozens of kilometers. So yeah, it's the perfect social distancing national park.
Yeah, I think that whole luxury of exclusivity is something Wangi definitely stands out for, and Joseph Benini specifically, from that perspective. So I'm so glad to hear that, your advice is just do it, like go.
Yeah,
You were
definitely.
there in November, weren't you, Matt?
Correct. Yes, I
Was
managed
it? Was,
to. Sorry, go on.
no, I was going to say, was it very green? Had the rains arrived?
They'd had a little bit of rain the week before we got there and while we were there, but that I don't mind being in Africa when it rains. I think it adds to the experience. It's a a true African rainstorm is something that
Oh,
not everyone gets
lovely.
to see because
Mm.
most people travel in the dry season, and that's again part of the unbelievable experience of traveling at that time of year. So yeah, we actually planned to go just before lockdown started, so it all worked out quite perfectly in that we escaped the UK lockdown a little bit. But yeah, November's a wonderful month to travel, especially if you're interested in the smaller things.
Did you see
Um,
many birds, or
yes,
how
the
that part
birding
of it?
was some of the best birding I've had. I've been birding in Africa for years, since back when I was a guide in Namibia, and it's one of the best kind of birding trips I've ever had. In 10 days in Zim, we did 198 species,
Wow,
including I saw about 10 lifers, 10 new species for me.
beautiful.
So that was, yeah, it was absolutely unbelievable in terms of the birding experience.
November's a
And
good month for birding. Note to self.
100%, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I would anyone who's interested in birds, I would definitely consider going in November rather than the kind of busier months. And luckily, in Velo's guides like Sibs and Vusa are just absolutely phenomenal at kind of catering that experience to the kind of more specialist elements of safari, which was, yeah, really, really, really cool for me personally.
Wow.
Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, Wangi is known for its birding. It has over 400 birding species. We get a lot of the migratory birds that come in. So if you've got any good twitchers out there that are looking for a birding safari, definitely Wangi is a great one to consider.
Yeah.
But I think you got the double whammy, because you got to see the small and you got to actually see a lot of the the big species as well. So that sounds like awesome,
Definitely.
experience.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, important to know for anyone planning to kind of go in the green season that you won't see the kind of concentration of game in Wangi which you would see in the dry season. Wangi is famous for its elephants. You won't see the same number of elephants, but I mean, we probably had in the 5 nights we were at Velo, we probably had 8 or 9 sightings, including 2 on foot, including 2 in camp. So I mean, that's pretty good going for anyone on any safari. So you don't necessarily need the huge numbers of elephants to still have that incredible kind of big 5 experience, so to speak.
And when you first arrived,
Mm.
how did you find it when you first arrived in Zim, in terms of, people perhaps being a bit nervous of traveling because of COVID and all the rest of it? What was your experience? And, have you got any sort of tips you'd want to share with anybody who might be a little bit hesitant about
Yeah.
booking?
I mean, I found it far safer than the UK, being perfectly honest. I felt way more comfortable, as did my girlfriend who traveled with me. Because you're in the middle of nowhere, which helps, rather than being in crowded London. But in terms of kind of airport protocols and hospitality protocols, let's say, it far surpasses anything we have in the UK. All of the camp staff wear masks. There's sanitizer stations everywhere. There's daily temperature checks. The social distancing in place. But the nicest thing was the camp staff kind of reacted to how you wanted to act, if you see what I mean. So they were happy to kind of put the protocols in place if you were nervous, and they were in place when we first arrived. But when we said we were very comfortable with the staff not wearing masks, and we were the only ones in camp for most of our time, that we said, guys, please take off your mask. It's absolutely fine around us. And that they were very happy to. So they kind of did it to your comfortability levels. And then in Nahimba, in the second half of the trip, there were some local guests there. And we said, we're very happy to not wear masks, but we will if the other guests don't feel as comfortable. Camp staff chatted to those local guests and they said the same as us. So that was very nice. But there was still the sanitizing, social distancing and temperature checks in place.
And coming in through the airport as well?
Compared to the UK airport procedures, which are pretty much non-existent, it was really, really impressive. Especially on the way out, I think they'd actually implemented something new by the time we left, in that when you arrive outside the airport, they sanitize your bags with a kind of hose spray. Then you walk through a little corridor booth almost like a foot and mouth type thing where they spray you. Then they
Okay.
sanitize your hands. Then they do a temperature check, and you're socially distanced within the airport. And then the actual plane procedures were very good in terms of wearing masks. So
Great.
I felt completely comfortable throughout my entire stay.
Fantastic. That's good to hear.
I think, with Zim having such low COVID numbers, it should definitely be hopefully one of the countries that bounce back quicker, going into 2021. It's definitely a safer destination. And as you said, everything in the airport was in place, and, 45 minutes to an hour you were out. And as long as you had your PCR negative test, it was, it is doable to travel.
100%. I mean, yeah, there's the forms to fill in before you have to obviously get your negative PCR, as you just mentioned. You have to fill out a kind of health declaration form and then an immigration form. But that process was done very slickly and very, very quickly. We were on quite a tight time frame to make our transfer, and we still made it out even through immigration, purchasing our visas and everything very, very quickly, and still felt that the protocols were very much in place and adhered to by everyone. So yeah, I was really, really impressed with all of Zimbabwe's protocols.
Did you go straight down to Wangi, or did you?
Yes, so we had a really cool entrance to Wangi. We got on a transfer from Vic Falls Airport to one of the railway sidings along the national park boundary called Det, and then we jumped on the Elephant. We weren't expecting it, but we jumped on Invelo's Elephant Express train, which is absolutely a phenomenal way to arrive into the park. Yeah, cannot rate that experience more highly.
For those that don't know, that's our unique little rail car that Invelo built. And I think the beauty of it as well is it does seat 22 passengers, so you can also social distance on that. But I think a much more comfortable and fun way to get into camp with the G&T in hand, right?
And of course, it's 100%. All open as well.
Yeah,
definitely. Right. I mean, we luckily had Mark Butcher meeting us at the railway siding and kind of guiding us for the first couple of days, even on the express. So just learning about the history of the railway line, Cecil Rhodes railway line, Cape to Cairo, and kind of how that has now developed into a tourist attraction, so to speak, with, Rovos Rail, all of that stuff going up that railway, and then the Elephant Express. And yeah, what better way to arrive than on a really cool railway car with a cold beer and a lovely platter of snacks and great game viewing from the train, which a lot of people can't say as a way to arrive. So yeah, absolutely phenomenal.
Did you take to the wheel?
I did. Yeah, we got one of the photos of me driving the train.
Did you have the hat?
No, my girlfriend wore the hat the entire time. I wasn't allowed to wear it.
Brilliant. Get a picture of that.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. Best way to arrive to us. Everyone talks about light aircraft. It's the best way to arrive, flying over the park. But no, I can definitely say that that's the best way.
Thank you. That's awesome. So, we were actually chatting a lot the other day, Helen and Sally and myself, about how travel might evolve in 2021, and that the trend is to potentially slow down, spend more time in one park, less airports, less stress. Just get to your kind of destination and then move around within that one national park. And I think Wangi has such diversity from, moving around, whether you're talking about your wildlife concentrations or your activities or your types of accommodation. So you did a north and a south combo. What would be your thoughts on recommending that going forward and spending more time in one park?
Yeah, very, very correct. And that's the kind of trend that we're seeing at Original Travel as well, kind of travel better for longer, so to speak. We do at Original Travel, we do a lot of kind of sabbaticals, extended month up to 2 years kind of trips. And I think that will very much be prevalent in 2021. In terms of Wangi as a kind of longer stay destination, I think the park, as you say, has such diversity. It very much allows for, a week plus just staying in Wangi. Doing an Invelo circuit, just as an example, you can very easily combine the southeast, like Bomani, with the kind of wilderness experience of Josie Benini, which is a kind of more adventurous, intrepid, kind of almost camping experience, and then going up to the north, which is completely different scenery, to the south of the park, and with that you get different wildlife experiences and different birding experiences and different activities. So it could, very, very easy to combine a kind of longer stay in Wangi, and I would heavily recommend it. It's not a park that you just jump in for kind of 2-3 nights and jump out. You really need to spend time to kind of explore the different areas.
And I think the value for money is there. I think Wangi's always been known for good value for money. So potentially allowing you to have a longer safari experience because of that value, that you can, instead of doing 4 nights, you can potentially do, 7, 8 or 9, going forward.
And that is the kind of beauty about Zimbabwe generally, to be perfectly honest, compared to other Southern African nations, is the affordability versus experience is very, very, very high. So it allows for those kind of longer stays or longer trips around Zim in a wider itinerary.
Without compromising on your game experience.
100%.
And I think, as we all know, is that then also, you spend less time traveling around, and then you just see more and you learn more, and, because you're not rushing around, and you can just take it at a more leisurely pace, and then find that actually you are interested in birds, or you are really interested in butterflies or insects or whatever it happens to be. I think just less time traveling and more time,
deeper understanding.
Immersing, restoring, all those things that we all want in 2021. Definitely. So you have to give us a highlight from Bomani and a highlight from Nehemba. What would they be?
That's tough. Bomani, being perfectly honest, it was probably kind of visiting the community development projects and the anti-poaching projects which are going on down there. I've been to dozens and dozens and dozens of community development projects throughout Southern Africa, and I've never felt as kind of inspired as I have done at Mvelo. It was an unbelievable experience, because the kind of result, the work that they're doing and the results are incredibly tangible. You really, really feel them on the ground. And when you have someone like Butch guiding you and telling you about it, who kind of set it all up from the beginning, it really kind of hits home as to the importance of tourism, ecotourism, conservation tourism, whatever you want to call it, and the kind of work that Mvelo are doing down there. That was a real highlight, apart from obviously the wildlife and the guiding and everything was sublime. Nehemba was probably the elephant experience in camp, although it was quieter than what I know it to be in kind of peak dry season. It was still amazing. You're sat having dinner and 20 elephants come up to the swimming pool to drink, which is very, very special and something very unique about Wangi. So that was amazing. And now I'm just absolutely incensed with the idea about going back in kind of August, when it's really, really pumping, to kind of witness that times 10. I think they're probably my highlights.
Special. I think Nehemba, we talk about experiential dining all the time, and it just does take it to another level. Sitting out there, and I think, pictures sometimes just don't even do it justice. It's, listening to the rumblings and the dynamics between the different families, and, it really is such wonderful entertainment for a good couple of hours around a campfire and, after dinner as well. So I'm glad you got to enjoy that and experience it. And thank you for, going and actually seeing our anti-poaching unit teams on the ground. They've been such rock stars this year, and so important. Their work that they have been doing, specifically with the stall and tourism, they've carried on and really been on the front line for us, and made sure that poaching, we haven't seen a pickup in it. I think because of their passion, their dedication, and it's just even more reason why, getting guests back there next year is so critical to the whole thing. It's just looking after the parks, looking after those frontline communities has always been Mvelo's ethos, and it's something that's very important to us. So I'm glad you experienced that, and got to see a bit of our community stuff in action. But there's so much more. We wish you had more time. So
exactly.
Even more do the cycling and the horse riding another time.
Yes, 100%. Next
when
time.
You go back for your bigger elephant experience.
Do all of Can't wait. No, we went. Butch wouldn't let us do any other activities apart from walking. So I've never met someone who owns safari camps but hates being in them so much. He wants to spend his entire time out in the bush. You know, we get down to the fire in the morning, we'd have one sip of coffee, we'd be like, right, are you ready? Come on, get in the vehicle. What are you doing? So that was very fun. It was really cool.
Yeah, someone that loves just being in the wild, you know, you can just see it's in his DNA, isn't it?
100%. Yeah. I can imagine it's even worse when he's in the office. Yeah.
Doesn't like being in the office.
He's never in the office.
Yeah, exactly.
That is his office.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is his office.
True. Yeah, lucky him.
Yeah, no, 100%. So Matt, if you had to, you know, to finish off, I suppose, inspire others to come and travel in one sentence, what would it be?
Oh gosh. Well, okay, touching on the word you just used, I think a kind of Invelo circuit is a very inspiring way to travel. A, because of the community side of things. B, because Zimbabwe is a relatively undiscovered nation and safari experience compared to a lot of other Southern African destinations. So I think if you were to go to Zimbabwe, you would feel inspired about the diversity of the country, the wildlife experience, the communities, everything it has to offer. It's very inspiring. And yeah, I absolutely love Zim and I can't wait to go back.
Thank you. Yeah, it is a real hidden gem. So thank you for choosing us, and thank you for this coffee catch up. I've loved this, listening to it. It's made me kind of feel like, in a way, that I am closer to Wangi, which hopefully I can get to soon. You know, I'm in Cape Town at the moment, and Helen and Sally with you in the UK, but hopefully we can all reunite, you know, next to these beautiful Ellies, you know, and at some point next year.
100%.
So,
I must just apologise to Sally and Helen because I can see them turning darker shades of green.
Still haven't forgiven you, Matt. Definitely not.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for your time today. And yeah, it's been awesome to catch up with you guys. So thank you, everyone. And hope that this does inspire others to start, you know, really realizing, you know, vaccines are on the horizon. There's positive news that's coming out there. Definitely. And I definitely feel that, you know, 2021, we should all feel optimistic about it. Agreed. And yeah, we can't wait to share some more stories about Wangi soon. So thank you so much for your time.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody. Bye.